And we're back in Indianapolis with the head coach of the Silver and Black, Josh McDaniels. And Josh, this is nice, right? It's me and you casual. We're not in the suits. We don't have the bright lights. This is a little nicer, right?
Yes, definitely. And it's also nice to be back in Indy.
Yeah.
You know, after a year away, it kind of feels good to, get back into the flow of things in the off season too.
So the last time we talked to you was about a month ago, a month and some change. A busy month for you. So before we dive into everything that's happened over the past month, I guess, what is the biggest thing that you've taken away from these past 5-6 weeks?
There's great people in the building. That really has struck Dave and I. It hit us when we interviewed, but getting to know the people more and more throughout the course of the building, in all departments, all areas, they've just been so welcoming and helpful to us as we're trying to build our staff and ultimately our team here. But the culture that's in place is one that's unselfish, has a really positive attitude, team first in every aspect, and can't wait to help each other. And so we've spent a lot of time this month really trying to put our staff together, but getting to know the people in the building has been a great part of that process.
I'm glad you brought up the staff and obviously the process of going through one and building one, and certainly not an easy thing to do and something that doesn't happen overnight. But when you look at some of the additions that you made, kind of just lift the veil for us for a little bit. How do you go about building the staff, and who are some of the key people on that staff that you're excited about heading into 2022?
Yeah. The first thing we talked about was really being patient and thorough. We felt like there was a lot of people out there that were worth talking to and finding out what the fit would be like. And fortunately for us, there was quite a few people that we had some familiarity with. Start with Patrick Graham on the defensive side as the coordinator. Pat and I had spent some years together in New England, and then Pat has moved on and really learned a lot of football, been around a lot of different people, has his own thoughts and ideas about what to do, was very impressive in the interview, and that was a really important hire for us. And Tom McMahon, who I had an opportunity to be with in St. Louis earlier in my career, he's been around a lot of places too, been successful in different spots. And we were fortunate that we had an opportunity to hire Tom as our head special teams coach, and then Maurice Drayton, who was coming from Green Bay, as his assistant. They had some previous working experience together, and we feel like we really got a good group there with our kicking game. And then offensively, it just, as fate would have it, there were a few people that had worked with me in New England, Mick Lombardi, Carmen Brasillo, Bo Hardigree, whose contract situation kind of timed out perfectly for them and for us. And unlike my last opportunity where I really couldn't take anybody there, the fortune was on our side this time, and we were able to bring some familiarity on the offensive side, which is really helpful for me.
And speaking of the familiarity on the offensive side, and you said for you in particular, right, it helps to have people that speak the same language that obviously you know really well. Like, I guess for someone like me who doesn't know the type of football and the X's and O's and the stuff that goes into it, like obviously you do, what is the benefit of that familiarity going into a new opportunity here in Las Vegas?
I think, when I was hired, when I interviewed with Mr. Davis, one of the things we talked about was, who was going to be the play caller. And I think everybody felt good about me being the play caller. I've done it for a long time. And it was kind of something that we all agreed would be the best thing for this team, at least at the beginning. Maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now, maybe that changes. But right now we felt like that was the right thing to do. And when you're trying to do that and be the head coach, that's doable. When you feel like you have to be in every single meeting, run every single offensive staff meeting, run every single offensive team meeting, then you basically become the coordinator as well. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to try to give somebody else an opportunity to grow and handle some of those responsibilities while maintaining my ability to be involved and then call the game on Sundays. So it was really important that I had an opportunity to hire Mick Lombardi, and he's right now they're back in Vegas running meetings, being productive with the offensive staff as we're here trying to evaluate the guys that are coming out this year in the draft. So it just helps everybody's efficiency, everybody's productivity, and not least of which would be mine as we go through the course of the calendar year.
We talk about where we are in the calendar year, and obviously we're here in Indy getting ready for the combine well underway at this point. But when you and Dave kind of look at the goals, the objectives from this week, what do you guys want to take out of this?
Just really, it's a lot of information. There's nothing that's going to be finalized this week. We're going to gain a lot of information about a lot of players. We're going to see a lot of athletes test. We're going to, get a lot of information medically about them, as well as some other things that may be, behind the scenes relative to, markets and free agency, et cetera. So you really come to Indy hopeful that when you leave, you have an opportunity to be more well educated about everybody. And this process is very helpful that they put it in one spot and you can really accumulate a lot of that at the same time.
One thing that was really, really fun for us over the past month is all these fans on social media, like, oh, you got to ask, what are we looking for in terms of players? And not positions or anything like that, but if you kind of go down your list of characteristics of what you and Dave covet in a player, what's really important to you? I mean, where does that list kind of start?
We look for players that fit, our overall philosophy, which is we want guys that, work hard and love the game of football. And are willing to do all the things necessary to improve themselves. These players are all young. They all need to get better. And in order to do that, you're going to have to be willing to put in the time and the effort, the sweat equity that's required in the National Football League to eventually get to the point where you're really a consistent contributor on a good football team. And so none of them are quite ready right now. There's some guys that have talent, there's no question. But when they come on your team, everybody's talented in the National Football League. So we really are trying to identify those characteristics and traits of the guys that are willing to come in and grind and do the work that's necessary to put them in position to be able to contribute this year and beyond.
I know we get so caught up in the 40 and how many reps a guy can do at 225 and all that, and it's fun, and I'm sure there's certainly value in that because sure. Who doesn't want to run a 4.2, right? Sure. But for you all on the staff, how important is that time, that face-to-face time with these guys going forward?
Yeah, critical. You really don't. You never want to draft a player that you really don't feel like and having the opportunity to meet them, even though it's a short window here in Indy. At least it starts the conversation, and then we're allowed to have a few more hours of dialogue with them as we head towards the draft in April. And you just want to find out as much as you can. It's like a job interview. You're interviewing them, they're getting to know you, but you want to have a familiarity. You want to have a strong knowledge of their background, what matters to them, why is this important. If it is important. There's always some things that you're going to find out about them that, may sway you one way or the other. The workouts are great. You get to see them move around and do some things, but there's a lot of tape that really is critically important to our overall evaluation. It's not just going to come from what they do in the shorts and t-shirts here. It's really going to come from the tape work, and then this is kind of like the final part of it. The interaction with the players over the next month and a half is really important for our overall evaluation, and then the finality of where we think this player fits for us.
You brought up that evaluation and the evaluation of guys here in Indy, but we look at the league year and the calendar and we're 2.5 weeks away from the start of the league year and free agency and all this kind of stuff. So I imagine at this point in the game you and Dave have kind of a clear vision of how you want to attack free agency, and I know it's kind of that loaded stereotypical question, but do you anticipate you and Dave being, quote, aggressive in free agency, or how do you kind of see that portion of the year playing out?
I think the best way to look at that is that you're trying to improve your football team, in every way, shape, or form you can all year round. It's not a process that just starts in March and then is over in a few days. Certainly there might be some guys that we have an interest in that could come in and really impact us. But that's going to happen throughout the month of March, into April, into the off season, into training camp. If you look at it and you kind of look at it in a very short spurt or short window, you probably make a few mistakes along the way. What we're going to try to do is take a bigger picture view of that and look at it as a year-round process. Any opportunity that we can to improve the Raiders, we're going to take full advantage of it. We have to be mindful of our situation. We have players on our team that are also, worthy of discussion relative to, extensions, et cetera. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just as simple as saying, man, that guy's a good player, let's go get him. You got to try to fit it all underneath the same umbrella. And Dave does a great job. His staff's done a tremendous job of setting the table for us. and we're going to try to finish off our evaluations and our preparation for that part of the year here in the next few weeks, and hopefully we can have a productive beginning to free agency.
You've been incredibly generous with your time, but I want to hit you on two things before we let you out of here. And one is Derek Carr, right? You've now had a chance to meet Derek. You had a chance to kind of spend time with him. What has that relationship been like? I know when we talked last time, a month ago, you hadn't had a chance to start building that, but where are we kind of in that process?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great to get to know him. He's here, which is great. I mean, here in Vegas, and working out in the facility. You see him in the dining room, and you see him just putting in the preparation that a starting quarterback should be putting in at this time of the year, and just getting out to sit down and talk with him about his family, about his kids, about his wife, about what's interesting to him. He's obviously a guy that, his faith is very important to him, his family's really important to him, and football is important to him, and honestly, he kind of keeps it in those three windows, and which is great for him. There's a lot of things that, people can get interested in and get caught up in, but Derek has his priorities in line. He's been very impressive, in terms of just our interactions. Really no football stuff, until we get into that part of the year in April, which is fine. We'll have plenty of time for all of that, but just to have an opportunity to begin our relationship is awfully important to what we're going to be able to build this year and beyond.
And last but not least, we landed in Indy yesterday, and I turned my phone on and I found out, hey, we're playing in the Hall of Fame game, Raiders-Jags, and I'm sure that's a very cool kind of full circle moment for you because your high school actually played at the site where the game is, right?
Yeah, I grew up about 4 or 5 minutes from the Hall of Fame, and so this will be a very special opportunity for me personally. It won't be about me when we go there, but it'll be really neat for my parents and a lot of my family and friends to have that opportunity. I've been in the National Football League this is 22 years. I've never played in that game. And so to have it be my first opportunity to be the head coach of the Raiders and have it take place in Canton, Ohio, it's a unique opportunity for me. Really looking forward to our team having that opportunity to come to training camp just a little earlier than everybody else, give us a little extra time to really pour into our guys and build the foundation of what this season is going to be built on.
Best performance young Josh McDaniels had on that football field?
There's been a few of them. There was a few of them.
The subtle flex.
No, there was a few of them. You have great memories there. My brother played there as well. And my dad was, a longtime coach, Hall of Fame coach there. And honestly, some of my greatest memories were from when I was little. Just being able to sit there, and hold his cord, as he's walking up and down the sideline as the head coach, and some of the wins and victories that we experienced as a family in that stadium. Those are cool, and those emotions I'm sure will come back to me when I'm doing it here in August.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and we can't wait. It'll be a blast for us to go out there, experience everything that Canton has to offer, and we can't wait. But a lot for you to do this week. I really do appreciate you carving some time out for us. Good luck, and we'll see you back in Vegas, okay?
Thanks, Eddie.